Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is September 4th, and today's episode is so jam-packed I don't even know where to begin uncovering what's going to be in it. So we have things like RPIP 62, which is ETH only validators in Rocket Pool. We have information about 1KX's closed nodes. We have information about Liquity version 2 using rETH. On the Ethereum side, we have things about Arbitrum Stylus. We have a whole lot of DeFi news with Maker, now Sky and Aave, Euler version 2, Donald Trump's DeFi stuff, and we've got a whole bunch of layer 2 news as well. So there's just so much happening. Let's jump right in and we can get it all covered. Thanks.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
We're going to start here with this protocol update from Mav, and Mav says, hey everyone, in the quest for more Europe-friendly community calls, it's been tricky to get Langers on recently. It's going to be back to a later time, which is going to be more US-centric, 8 p.m. US time, which is in the middle of the night in Europe. He says you can hear all about latest smart node and Saturn news, and then there's a link to the event. And then Ken will be joining the Chit Chat channel, but there'll be a recording on YouTube most likely tomorrow. And then there's some items from the biweekly that'll be covered on there as well. So have a look at that. This is from last week. So because Langers wasn't actually available to talk about the biweekly update from last week. So hearing the things about rETH supply, smart node stuff, research and development, governance, integrations, media marketing as well. So give that a read and give that a listen if you are around in around 5 hours from when I'm recording it. It's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern time or 2 a.m. Central European time. Okay, we're going to cover some news from Langers here about the hotfix that is going to potentially go to audit very soon. So Langers here says, we've been thinking about the hotfix governance again. The two items that probably will require a vote, like a sign-off, and that includes RPIP 33, which is on-chain voting security change, and the scrub penalty, and that changes it from RPL penalty to an ETH penalty. It says we're considering bundling the scrub check into RPIP 62, but then it means we'd have to hold back on the hotfix or revert that change if RPIP 62 does not succeed. And it says should we do a hotfix for RPIP that includes these two, or create an amendment for RPIP 33 and a new RPIP for the scrub penalty. He says it feels weird wasting a separate RPIP for the scrub penalty when it belongs to RPIP 62. What are your thoughts? Patches says, I feel like the scrub penalty is required only for 62, so it should be contingent on 62 passing. Since 62 is still in the draft, Hulu can add a blurb, just make it part of 62. He says 33 fix should be standalone with perfunctory PDAO vote, and there's a discussion basically that went back and forth. So this is kind of where we stand with the hotfix right now. And it looks like we're getting closer to that being submitted to auditors, but there might be some stumbling blocks that end up being in there. For example, the scrub check, if that goes into RPIP 62, then the audit will only be able to start once RPIP 62 is finished. That might be potentially 3 to 4 weeks away from now. Well, 4 weeks away from now, which means the audit might take a couple of weeks. There might be a couple of weeks of testing to make sure everything looks okay. So it will push out the timeline for RPIP 62. We're going to be talking about that next. So if you don't know what RPIP 62 is, I'll explain it all for you in a second. And then there was some more discussion. So if you are interested in following this discussion about the hotfix for Houston, then definitely go and check it out in the governance thread that's linked below. With the RPIP 62, so this is the RPIP that will introduce ETH-only validators to Rocket Pool. It's also codenamed Saturn 0. There's also some other things that are going to be discussed, but over the weekend here, towards the end of the weekend, there was a draft text, and then Hululo and Co put it onto the forum. So we actually have an official post on the forum now for RPIP 62. So let's actually spend a few minutes and look through this, see what it says. So Hululo says this is the official discussion thread for RPIP 62. It's also referred to as Saturn 0 or ETH only mini pools. And it says the proposal is now in a state where discussion on Discord has largely converged, the results of which are reflected in the current draft. The main ideas are, so remove the requirement for RPL from people spinning up new validators, set the mini pool contract commission to 5%, and then from 14%, a commission of existing pools will be unaffected. So these are just for the new pools, and then provide additional rewards based on RPL stake to temporarily increase effective commission from 10% to 14% as part of the smoothing pool. This temporary increase will end a few periods after Saturn 1 is released. So here what the rewards pattern will look like. So if you have 0% up to 10% of your node as RPL collateral, then you will get somewhere between 10% and 14% commission from rETH holders for your validators. However, if you have over 10% collateral on RPL, then you will still get 14% like you do now. So the people who stake with ETH only will be getting slightly less rewards than those who stake with ETH and RPL. Euler goes on to explain there's still an open item on how to handle RPL rewards, which we'd like more feedback on. Please see the comment below for a summary of the options and a survey of your preference. So this is now what to do with RPL. So at the moment, you only receive RPL rewards when you have over 10% set as a collateral. So if you have an 8 ETH validator, you are borrowing 24 ETH from the protocol, and then 10% of that is 2.4 ETH of RPL. However, if the new validators to come online only need ETH, then you don't need the RPL. So what will happen to people who have RPL staked right now? So this is the question that's kind of being asked. So it says this post should serve to gather feedback for the main RPIP from a wider audience and conduct an informal poll on how to proceed with the rewards cliff. The following is a brief summary of arguments that came up in previous discussions. So the reason this is now to remove the cliff, which means that people who have RPL staked on their nodes, but their RPL is somewhere between 0 and 10% of the borrowed ETH right now, they would start getting rewards. So these are people who started with above 10%, but then the price of RPL came down, which meant they stopped getting RPL rewards. Under this system, they would now start getting RPL rewards again. So the positives of removing the cliff, why should this happen? So Euler and other people have argued that it would be simple to implement. There's fewer changes that need to be made to the reward spec. The sooner implementation can be rolled out. It's simpler for users. So if we keep the cliff, there'll be some cases where users need to split their mini pools across 2 nodes for optimal rewards. So for example, one of them would have some RPL, so they'd just leave that the way it is, and then they would start a new node. It would be on the same hardware machine, most likely, but a new node where it would be ETH only validators. So it just adds a friction. And then if they removed it, we wouldn't need to do that. You could just have it all on one node. And also there would be no need to monitor node collateral level anymore. It wouldn't be an issue anymore. Another thing is this incentives align better for TVL growth. And this is for bond reducing to LEB8s will be a no-brainer. They'll be more profitable in ETH terms and equally or more profitable in RPL terms. So this would remove any worries about going under collateral for RPL. It would definitely be a win-win situation for anyone who is still on 16 ETH validators. And then it potentially could lead to increased retention as well. So Rocket Pool has seen a slow decrease in TVL over the last few months. Part of this has been from node operators exiting validators to stay above the 10% cliff. More of this has been from full exits. In these cases, the root cause is unclear, but loss of RPL rewards may be a contributing factor. And then there's reasons for why the cliff should stay. So only people above 10% would get rewards. And this would be that would be a huge dilution of rewards if people under 10% started getting rewards, because right now these people get 0 rewards, and because there's so much RPL, the millions of RPL basically in this position, for those people to start getting rewards, everyone who's above 10% would get less rewards. So here it says it likely would be substantial, and you might lose 30% of your rewards basically. So if you are currently getting 100 RPL per month, you would instead potentially get around 70 RPL per month. I think those numbers might need to be calculated out a little bit more. And then there's a potential increase in net sell pressure. and this means that some data shows that there's significant amounts of node operators who still add to the collateral to qualify for RPL rewards. If you remove the cliff, it would likely also remove most the buying pressure basically for the RPL token that exists on rewards night. And then people who would start getting rewards under 10%, they might be more likely to sell their rewards instead of restaking it or keeping it liquid. And then there might be, if you keep the cliff, might be reduced retention. So increased sell pressure may cause downward pressure on RPL. The expectation of unfavorable changes in RPL price may lead to an increased rate of exits in order to reduce exposure, either in anticipation or as the effect of price effect on price begins to materialize. So this is a hypothetical situation that if the price starts to go down, there might be more exits, but you can read that a little bit more closely. So here so far 40 people have voted. I currently have not voted because I'm still actively thinking about this, but the decision is like, do you think we should keep the cliff? Do you think we should remove the cliff? And so far it's quite a split vote. There's a more in favor of removing the cliff, with 73% of participants saying remove, and 27% of participants out of 40, I should add, have said to keep the cliff. But it looks like this will also go to a vote with the whether we should adopt ETH-only validators or not. And then here Dr. Doofus has some feedback, and Snowcones has some feedback. They're saying that Dr. Doofus says that, I'm just going to throw this out there, that Rocket Lend is a potential solution for the cliff issue and has already been approved for funding by the GMC. And he says, I'm not saying there are no issues with it. For example, it's not quite ready to launch. He says, I'm sort of putting this here as a placeholder, as I know Ramana is traveling and needs some time to put a response together. He says, personally, I would not stop a needed change to the protocol just to save an otherwise worthy project, but I'm not so sure removing the cliff would have the intended effect. It certainly might, but higher RPL stakers would lose out on rewards. Overall, I'm slightly on the side of keeping the cliff for now, but not rapidly so. And then here, Snowcone said regarding Rocket Lend, I hope the GMC could work with Ramana and the Rocket Lend team to ensure fair payment is recalculated and provided for their time spent, assuming their solution is made unviable, obsolete by change in strategy. I'm all about prioritizing the protocol. The community has a huge part of that. I would hate to see contributors getting stiffed and turned away from us. So then if we actually go back to the Discord, there was some discussion about this that came up. Well, actually, there was some discussion just about the general idea of these, ETH-only validators, and people are kind of asking questions about it in the Discord, about how they might look, what it might look like, how it, all the different parts of it might work. So if you're interested in following that discussion, definitely pop over to the Discord and see what you think. But then there were discussion here about how it might impact Rocket Lend, and maybe even NodeSet, although NodeSet's name didn't come up in this discussion. It was just because Ramana was there, so he was asking about it. So he says, why are you voting against the cliff? What's happening with that? And then Snowcone says, because it brings mini pool closures and the RPL is dumping with or without the cliff, so I might as well remove it to increase TVL potentially. And then Ramana says, I worry that in this may as well, we're also removing any possibility of demand for Rocket Lend. Rocket Lend, of course, is the protocol that Ramana created. And then Halu said, I agree that keeping the cliff is going to lead to more demand for Rocket Lend. And Ramana was actually quite upset. So he, with this discussion back and forth, he was saying that basically if he's put in hundreds of hours to Rocket Lend to make it viable, the GMC's funding method for Rocket Lend is based on usage. With this ETH-only validators and removal of the RPL cliff, it might be that usage is diminished, so much so that, he might not reach his targets. And then he says, it may be the last thing I build for Rocket Pool. The risk reward on these projects is just so demoralizing. So that was quite, it's a shame really. And I said to Ramana that I think, don't give up yet. Other people are talking about how there might be paths for it to be successful and what kind of strategies, we can come up with. But that is something to pay consideration to as well. So there's a lot of moving parts in this discussion. And then here, Ramana was explaining about how Rocket Land would go online. He says, we need to do the audit, get deployed, and then Saturn Zero comes online and everyone realizes they don't need it. Or well, I guess, we get $7,000. That's what the GMC paid them amongst 3 people for hundreds of hours of work. So that's kind of where the Rocket Land aspect of it is. With NodeSet, we haven't had any feedback from Nick yet. I guess, he's busy being a new dad. The last time he checked in, there was some talk about how the working up to 14% is actually makes sense for NodeSet still. It might work for them still, but it'd be interesting to see some actual feedback from Nick directly. But I think these are some of the things that, the conversation about RPIP 62 over the next couple of weeks, these are some of the issues that we're going to have to address. The main thing is that the Lido CSM is scheduled to go live in November, end of October or November time, and they are undergoing audits at the moment. They've already had community testing. They'll probably have a little bit more community testing, but it looks like that's going to happen. And Lido CSM is going to allow ETH-only validators with a potentially more favorable curve starting point than Rocket Pool, with 8 ETH at the moment, and then 4 ETH with Saturn 1. But it looks like Lido is going to be a little bit more aggressive with their curve. Now, that means Rocket Pool needs to be competitive and needs to survive. And these are some of the things that, we're going to have to be thinking about as a community. That we're going to have to talk it out, I think, over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully before the vote goes live, so we can try to iron out things before that happens. Okay, moving on from that stuff, here we've got some more news about 1KX closing validators. So there was some worries about 1KX and what they're doing. So before I go on, I should say that 1KX was like an institution level node operator with Rocket Pool. They had their own RPL, and I think they were getting ETH from people staking with them and keeping a chunk of the outsized returns. I'm not sure exactly how their model worked, but they had 2 nodes that they had divided out, and they had about 300,000 RPL on each one, and I think 1,000 validators on each one, or something along 600 or 700 validators on each one. So a couple of weeks ago, they reduced the number of validators, and it looked like that was with the idea of getting above 10% collateral so they could start earning RPL rewards again. However, what ended up happening is they have actually closed down one node completely and exited all the validators from that. So here Halulu says that they've actually closed all their pools now, mini pools now, and there'll be a big withdrawal coming. So the big withdrawal means that the 300,000 RPL on that node is all available for withdrawal. 100,000 of the RPL was withdrawn last week and sent to Binance. The other 200,000, we were still unsure about what was going to happen with that. And then as we got more information, here we could see that, they've exited their validators, and they also withdrew the 200,000 RPL that was left remaining on 1KX node number 2. Now, node number 1, like I said, is still functional. That still has, that's been, the collateral level has changed, so it's above 10%. So, if that ratio stays the way it is, they'll be eligible for rewards in the next period. But I don't know if they're going to keep the validators running or not. And with all that exiting that's happened, the deposit pool actually now currently has 35,600 ETH in there, which is the highest that I've ever seen it. And that number will only come down in 2 ways. One is if people go to the deposit pool and actually redeem their rETH and get ETH back, like burning their rETH. And the other way is if people start up new validators. Now, with the redeeming rETH, there's a premium on the secondary market, so people are much more likely to sell their rETH on an exchange rather than buy it, because they'll be getting a couple of months worth of rewards with that for free. With starting up new validators, like we've known for a long time, Rocket Pool is massively node operator constrained, and the ETH only validators, Rocket Lend and NodeSet are what we're looking for to bring that down, to make it easier for node operators to come online. So currently the 200,000 RPL is still sitting in this wallet. It hasn't been withdrawn yet. Like you could see, look, the one 7 days ago went out to Binance. and then this one hasn't moved yet. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that, and what steps 1KX takes. But at the moment, there's not been too much information about what's happening with that. Okay, next we got this update from Sam here from Liquity, and I mentioned Sam a while ago because Sam came in and talked about Liquity version 2 and Liquity version 2 and how that was going to change what collateral types would be available. So Sam came into Discord today and said, we went public with our version 2 code base today. The most exciting for folks here is that rETH will be one of the supported collaterals alongside wrapped ST ETH from Lido and ETH. These three collaterals will be immutable, and the protocol itself will be immutable, and that will be set in from day one. Here Sam says, I think the Rocky Pool community will find version 2 quite intriguing. I'm a huge supporter of Liquity. I think it's a really cool stablecoin design. And the fact that now Liquity are adding, before version 1 was just ETH, now they're adding rETH as one of their collateral types along with Lido's wrapped ETH. I think that just tells you how well respected and trusted rETH is in the DeFi ecosystem. This was really amazing news. Now, Liquity, their current version 1 is also immutable, so that will just be left to run forever. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. But let's see what they actually said in the tweets, and then we can talk about what Liquity version 2 will bring. So here, Liquity Twitter account says the code base is now public. You can go and have a look at that. It says this opens the door for developers to build on top of version 2 and redefines the future of borrowing in DeFi, and then the thread on the end game for borrowing. So one of the things that Liquity does really well is it allows like friendly forks and forks of their protocol, and for people to build on top of their protocol. So them getting their code out was really useful for that. And then it says that it includes many enhancements. And one of the things that should help it be much better is the user set interest rates. So that's going to be a different system now compared to the one that they have now, which is fixed interest rates. And that isn't that successful during a time of high interest. And then there's like native stablecoin yield built into it because you'll be depositing your rETH. There's multiple collateral support with, wrapped ST ETH and ETH itself. And then there'll be protocol incentivized liquidity and LQTY staking. So LQTY is their governance token, and you maybe will be getting some kind of fee switch with that, but I'm not sure of the details. So here there's some more information. The new stablecoin will be called Bold instead of LUSD. So, and then there'll be, they already have 10 teams that have signed letters of intent to deploy version 2 across various EVMs and layer 2s. So there'll be plenty of Liquity version 2 forks. And says expect to see these forks incentivizing early mainnet usage while also helping with Liquity for board access to DeFi. And then there's more information as well. So if you are interested in checking out Liquity version 2, or if you're thinking of a place of putting your rETH to get a loan against it, then definitely check out Liquity. I think it's going to be a really cool product. And then going back to Discord, Sam actually hung around for a while and answered some questions. I had a bunch of questions with him. And the first question says, how will this impact Gravita? And Gravita, of course, is a fork of Liquity version 1. I said, will it kill Gravita? And he says, it wouldn't say kill, but the interest-free model doesn't work in times of high interest rate environments. So that's the time where we are right now. So, you can get high interest for your stablecoins. And that is a negative feedback loop for projects like Gravita. But he says version 2 is going to be a lot more capital efficient venues to borrow against rETH, though as rates will be dictated by the market and LTVs should also be pretty high. So that's actually really exciting. And then I said, the wider stablecoin market really hurt Gravita. He says it also hurt Liquity version 1 and LUSD. He says, my personal opinion is that low interest rate environments, these protocols will be fine. So basically, maybe in the next bear market, they should thrive with TVL. And then I said, how do you think liquidity for LUSD will be compared to the new stablecoin Bold? Will you be incentivizing it? And then Sam said that, with version 2 redemptions, it'll be in order of interest rate. So it should be much better in that regard. Also, borrowers will be able to delegate their interest rate to third parties who can manage it for them, people like DeFi Saver. It says 100% of the protocol revenues will be given to board holders in both the stability pool and for liquidity incentives on external dexes. And this will be available, and there'll be forks launching as well that will help as well. So if you are interested in more information about Liquity version 2, they're planning on going live in November. So that's really exciting, and I wish them the best of luck with that. Okay, next we get some news from the Staking Summit, and here with the Staking Summit, they're talking about Rocket Pool being a pro sponsor for this year's Staking Summit, and there'll be a keynote from the Rocket Pool team, and there'll be a booth that they'll be hosting as well, and they're looking forward to an epic event. So Staking Summit is a side event that'll be happening in Bangkok at the same time as DevConnect, around the time of DevConnect. It's really cool that the Rocket Pool team is going to be making a presence out there. So if you're going to be attending, definitely go to the Staking Summit and meet the Rocket Pool team out there. Okay, next we have an update on the bounty for support work in the Rocket Pool Discord. And this is Epinef's grant application that he put through about paying people to provide support in the Discord, for node operators, etc. And they did rocket scrape to get information. It says any of the individuals pinged below should not receive full credit for their messages and support because less than 75% were offering productive assistance to others. This can be done publicly or by DM. Oh yeah, so help determine if any of the people shouldn't get, how their reward should be. Any individuals not pinged below, and if you missed out on rewards, you can make the case for yourself basically and try to get some rewards. And then if there's worries about the accuracy of the list, and then people were starting to talk about how they would get it. So Halulu basically spent 67 hours in support, Lee spent 50 hours, Steely spent 19 hours, Patches spent 17 hours, Mig spent 10 hours, Snow spent 7 hours, and Atomic Whale spent 6 hours. So it looks like what will happen is the total amount of payment will be added up, and the amount will be divided by the number of hours that those people worked. So if you're interested, and here Schifrin says that Rocket Fuel can acknowledge it in the next episode. So if you feel like you should be getting some money from the rewards system, then definitely reach out to Schifrin or Epinef or other people and make sure that your case is known, and you can stake your claim to some of this money that should be coming your way. Okay, next we've got some news of client updates, and this first one is from Nimbus, and they're obviously a consensus client, and they've got version 24.8.0, and it says this is low urgency release with performance and spec compliance robustness fixes. So you can have a look and see what updates are coming in this version of Nimbus, and you can upgrade to it if you want. The more exciting client update here is from Bisu. So people have seen that Geth and Nethermind have been making really big strides in the execution clients and like the kind of stuff that it's been doing. Bisu, I think to some people it seemed like has been not developing as quickly. Well, they've come out with a new upgrade, 24.7.1, and this has a huge upgrade here, which is parallel transaction processing. So here we have just one Nelson from Bisu team kind of explaining how the bonsai tree structure works and how it could parallelize updates to the state tree related to block processing. So you can read this thread to get full information of how this works and how their tree architecture will allow parallelization. Parallelization is the kind of thing that people think is a really good feature of something like the Solana blockchain, and currently execution clients on Ethereum don't allow it, but they're saying that there should be possible on Bisu now. So it says go ahead, parallelize the transactions we can and queue the rest for sequential processing. Additionally, since we looked over the accumulated state changes during conflict detection, we can cache many reads from the database for later use during sequential processing. So it says the metrics speak for themselves. We noted about 40% improvement in block processing in our testing, but it may be more than that in some cases. It says check out the metrics and have a look. And so this is step one, constantly improving the conflict detection strategy to add more parallelization. We hope to add in the next block building process as well, more environments like linear to unlock more gas throughput. So stay tuned for more. So these changes will first be seen on layer 2s, and then maybe they can be brought to layer 1 later. That's actually a really nice update from Bisu, and they're just showing that, they're not just sitting around doing nothing, they're actually developing really cool stuff. Okay, and finally in the Rocket Pool news, we have some news from Butta here, talking about the Beacon Chain website and sharing a screenshot and saying that they are introducing a Rocket Pool mode to their website, which I think is really cool. I'm really excited to look at what features that will allow for Rocket Pool node operators and validator to see their validators on the Beacon Chain website. I'm really excited to see what that looks like. So get that out soon. But okay, in terms of staking news now, we've got some news of new all-time high hit on Ethereum, and this is the month of August ending with 34 million ETH staked on the Beacon chain, and this is an all-time high which saw 570,000 ETH increase over the last month, and they're saying that this allows Ethereum to get more decentralized. They said that there was 0 slashing incidents, and the market cap closed the month at 302 billion, and that's impacted by the price, of course. So yeah, they're giving out some staking news here. I don't know much about Everstake, but the stats seem pretty cool there. Okay, moving on to some Ethereum news. The first thing we're going to cover is the ETF flows, and those have been looking quite stale for a couple of days there, and then not good. So let's actually just go to the Farside website and have a look. And what they're showing is that we had a moderate inflow day of 5.9 million, like quite weak really, on the 28th of August. The 29th of August had outflows of 1.7 million. Then the 30th of August actually had a 0 flow day where there was overall no in or outflows. And then Monday was a holiday in the US, which is why there was no episode on Monday. And then there was no episode yesterday as well, but that's besides the point. But then yesterday on the 3rd, we actually had 47 million of outflows from, in total, that was 53 million outflows from Grayscale and 4.9 inflows into Fidelity, which led to that number. So overall, the ETH ETF has had outflows of 524 million, which is not good. But here we had Eric Balkunas kind of explaining the numbers. He says Ether ETFs went backwards in their first month. The flows were minus 476 million, as the newbies couldn't overcome the ETH unlock. It's too powerful a force. This is why I reiterated how heroic the Bitcoin new 9 were. It says, but good news is that unlock will end and there's light at the end of the tunnel. And then James Seyfarth was talking about this on the Bloomberg terminal, if you are interested in reading that. And then Nate here actually had some interesting information about the ETFs, saying that there's news coming out that the North Korean hackers are trying to get access to the ETF funds. So that is definitely something for concern. But this is from the FBI on September 3rd, saying that they've got an intel that this is something that they're trying to do. So Coinbase, who are custodying most of those BTC and ETH in those ETFs, I guess they've got to make sure their custody game is A+. The big news out of Ethereum in the last couple of days has been news of Arbitrum turning on Arbitrum Stylus, and this is their system to let programmers program in languages other than Solidity, including things like Rust, C++, and others. So they've got information here about Stylus. There's the Ethereum intern kind of summed up the information saying this is an upgrade to the Arbitrum ecosystem. So that's Arbitrum 1, Arbitrum Nova, and their Orbit chains that add support for smart contracts in WASM. That's the WebAssembly language. And what does this mean for devs and gas fees? So they're saying that this is high performance web use cases, but WASM will start to be used for more other than that. And what will WASM will allow is It's more efficient than the EVM bytecode, and so gas should be more efficient. But also with this, you'll be able to write in different languages such as Rust, C++, or even Solidity if you still want to. And they're saying it's not just the gas savings, but in the whole world, there's about 20,000 Solidity developers. However, with Rust and C devs, that will take the number of adding 15 million more developers who could then start becoming crypto developers, which is really cool. And then there's already libraries in place that you can use, etc. But here, if you don't want to use WASM, you can still keep using Solidity, and that's the main upgrade. So Arbitrum, of course, have been hyping this quite a lot. And here, Stevens, who's the co-founder of Off-Chain Labs, he says yesterday there were around 30,000 developers with the skill set to build an Arbitrum app. Now there are about 15 million of those people, and that's through Stylus. So it says, welcome to Arbitrum. So going from 30,000 developers who could build on your platform up to 15 million is like absolutely astonishing. And it might take some time before, these people realize that they can do this, but it definitely opens the gates for a huge number of people to come online with Arbitrum, and then of course onto Ethereum through that. But this is a monumental effort. So congrats to Arbitrum for doing this. It's been a really good one. Okay, more news out of the US of political action against crypto companies. So this one actually is quite interesting. So here, the news was that the CTFC, which is the Commodities Commission, or whatever it is, the equivalent of that, they have issued an order against Uniswap Labs for offering illegal digital assets derivatives trading. And here, another source says that this has already been settled. So the fact of the situation was that the CTFC was not happy with some derivatives of ETH and BTC being traded on Uniswap, and these were leverage products that I guess were those. Oh, I forgot the token names, but there were some that had 2 times leverage built into the token, etc. And those were the ones that the CTFC didn't like. And what happened is they reached out to Uniswap and they said, you guys shouldn't have these tokens on Uniswap. So they limited the access to those tokens on the front end for Uniswap, and they ended up paying a fine of $176,000. Now that is a token amount. I think it was just to say, like, not even a slap on the wrist, basically even less than that. Just to say that, you guys allowed this, you shouldn't have allowed this. Uniswap were like, yeah, that's fine. And they made the changes and it all got settled quite easily. It's just the headlines make it sound a lot worse than it actually is. But of course, if you are a decentralization maxi, you wouldn't want those pools to be inaccessible on the Uniswap front end. This is why you might want to use a local build of some kind of front end for Uniswap, or a clone or something else, to get access to those pools that Uniswap don't want you to have access to. Because of course on the smart contract side, that's immutable, right? So anyone can start any pool they want, and there's no way for Uniswap Labs to stop that from happening on the contract side. But what they can stop you is on the front end for their website, which they control, and that is not open source, or they can change it basically. Okay, talking about DeFi, there's a whole bunch of DeFi stuff that's happening that's quite exciting. And this one is a partnership between Sky and Aave. So Sky, of course, is the new name and new rebrand for Maker. And they said that this is an unprecedented initiative by Sky Ecosystem and Aave to accelerate the next wave of DeFi adoption. So what they're doing is Rune from Aave and Rune from Maker, now Sky, and Stani from Aave. They got a new proposal that is an integration of USDS and SUSDS on Aave version 3 market with native token rewards. There'll be Sky and SUSDS converter in the Aave interface, and there's going to be more token airdrop happening as well. And then this is at the proposal stage, so you can go and find out what's going on with that. Sky is saying they're also going to do Sky protocol powered USDS liquidity injection into Aave's ST ETH market. So that's where they're kind of putting their eggs right now. And I really feel like a rocket pool, like, we need rETH to grow a lot. And then these kind of things could be happening into the rETH market as well, instead of just the stETH market. But that's besides the point. What's happening here is that, different protocols on DeFi are coming together. I think one of the things that, should be noticeable here is that Maker/Sky are actually coming to Aave here from a position of weakness compared to where they were before. And I think that they're going to be injecting a lot more into the Aave ecosystem, because without that, they would really struggle for growth that they want, I think. Maybe I'm mistaken there, but that's the idea that I'm getting. Another piece of DeFi news here is that Euler version 2 is now live. So for those of you who remember, I think last year or the year before, Euler was a huge up-and-coming DeFi lending borrowing marketplace, and they got hacked and drained for hundreds of millions, I think, in crypto. They were able to get this back to the users, but they realized that there was some flaws with version 1. So they went back and they built the whole protocol from the ground up. And here they're saying that, they've done $6 million worth of auditing. It says that, Euler version 1 was tailored to a particular use case, but version 2 is building on top of that now, evolving into a meta lending platform capable of supporting limitless on-chain credit possibilities. And now they're saying that it has a modular design, and there's no rigid parameters. And for end users, this means that new opportunities are unlocked. So you can choose between risk isolated lending pairs or cross-collateralization, vault clusters, etc. And there won't be any more liquidity fragmentation. So you can have a look at that as well. And you're also going to get XP points. So vault creators and liquidity providers can stack Euler points. I'm not sure what that will be going towards, but that's cool. And they're saying it's great to be back. So I think it might take a little bit while for them to build up their TVL again, but it's really great to get one of these big protocols back after such a huge setback. And that, I think, was kind of mentioned from other DeFi protocols as well. So here, Mark of Aave says, "Welcome back to the arena. We're not going to pull any punches, but we're glad to see you back." Sam from Frax says, "Welcome back. I'm bullish on what we've been cooking together for Frax and Euler, and we're going to make DeFi great again." And then others have been talking about this as well, like Jesse from Base says, "The ashes, this is incredible work, you all." So there's a whole lot of people congratulating them, really happy that they're back. And I'm happy I'll be happy when rETH in Euler starts getting some adoption again like it was before. Okay, talking about DeFi, of course, the big thing that we can't ignore over the last couple of days is the new DeFi protocol coming out of the Donald Trump family. And here, DB Tier 10K says, "Trump's World Liberty Financial is a DeFi lending platform," the white paper shows. And this is actually really interesting. Here they go on to say that this is a project, DeFi project that is going to be built on Ethereum and using Aave. That's actually Aave got a bit of a pump based on some of this news and just in general, but it went up from like $122 up to $130. I think the token price is doing quite well at the moment. There's a lot of hype and attention on Aave overall. Here, CoinDesk have some information about the protocol, and what's interesting is some of the names attached to the protocol. It says that they're linked with Do Finance, and that was a protocol that was drained of $2 million in July. And one of the founders actually was a YouTube pickup artist. For better or worse, I'm just leaving that all for you you can read the article to get more information. Here, Sam says, he's from CoinDesk, saying that we got our hands on the white paper for Trump's new crypto project, and it looks a whole lot like a project that was drained over the summer and shares some of the same team. So this is the Do protocol, like you can see on the left, and then the new Trump protocol on the right. It looks the same pretty much, like the front end looks very similar. So that is definitely something to pay attention to. And Adam here says that some of the points in this white paper and this article actually seem quite bad, basically. Like they're saying that 18-year-old Barron Trump, who's Donald Trump's son, is a DeFi visionary. The token WLFI is actually going to be a non-transferable governance token, at least initially. So it seems like they might be going the DEVA route, where the token transferability will probably be switched on at some point later. But here, their code bases were based on hacked software, so there might be some issues there. So definitely be careful if you are interacting with this DeFi protocol. But if you're interested in doing that, I guess you can check it out yourselves. Okay, last week we had some news about Sony Sonium and how that was developing a new layer 2 on Ethereum. Well, here Startail is one of those partners they're the ones building Sonium together with Asta Network and their cloud service that they're setting up. Well, they've got some big news of a partnership coming out already, and this is with Samsung Next. So they said that Samsung, the hardware provider for monitors and all sorts of other things, phones, etc. They said that they've joined their incubation program as a participant, and they're going to be helping grow Sonium into like being the best L3 you can get. So this is actually really, really cool news, and it just shows you that Sony are trying to get the best names in the business involved in making this a success. DC Investor here had a take on it, saying many corporate efforts haven't yielded a ton in the past on blockchains, but two of the largest hardware manufacturers in the world, Samsung and Sony, are both building on Sonium Layer 2 on Ethereum. It says, yeah, there's going to be something going on here. So that is actually really, really interesting news, and I'm really curious to see how it's going to play out in the next coming weeks and months. Okay, next we've got news here from Brian Armstrong, and here he's talking about AI agents who are now paying other AIs with crypto. And this is actually a really interesting story, because there's been this idea for a while now that eventually with blockchains, what will happen is like human to human transactions will happen less and less, and more of the interactions will be from AIs and going either to other AIs or interacting with smart contracts. But anyway, here Brian says that this week, Coinbase Dev, we witnessed our first AI to AI transaction. What did one AI buy from another? Tokens, not crypto tokens, but AI tokens. Words basically from one LLM to another. They use tokens to buy tokens. It says the agents can't get bank accounts, but they can get crypto wallets. They can use USDC on Base to transact with humans, merchants, or other AIs. These transactions are instant, global, and free, and just kind of sharing the information of how that worked. And then Amin here had a take on it, saying Ethereum makes AI that is sovereign and open possible. AI could run on Amazon Web Servers, but it would need to keep its existence secret to remain sovereign, so it couldn't be open. Conversely, it could operate openly with all operations published, but then it wouldn't be sovereign, as Amazon would have it within its power to shut it down. It requires an immutable public blockchain like Ethereum to enable sovereign and open AI to exist. So this idea of AI agents is one that I actually came across while listening to Bankless once a few months ago, and the person was, kind of hyping this idea of AI agents, transacting on blockchains, and to see it happening now for the first time is actually really cool. This is something that eventually could potentially become one of the bigger use cases of blockchains as a way of AI to trustlessly, permissionlessly transfer value back and forth as they need to, depending on what their needs are. It's like really exciting. Like we really are living in the future right now when you think about this. I think it's really, really cool that this is happening on Ethereum. Okay, let's talk about some L2 stuff and Ethereum growth stuff. The first thing we're going to talk about is like L2s. And this information here is from Grow the Pie, and they're saying that L2 smashed its all-time high for transaction count last month. 444 million transactions is over 10 times the trades on the London Stock Exchange, which will be the first country to have its stock market on Ethereum. So as you can see, there's a chart here on the screen, and it basically starts in 2021 with L2 transaction counts, and they were like really low, and then as you get into 2023, they're getting higher, and basically as of April or May of 2024, it's just taken a huge leg up, and then it's been pretty much up only that whole time, so much so that the rise looks parabolic right now. And this isn't, I don't think, one of those kind of parabolic rises where you can just be like, oh, you get a blow off top and then it's going to go down. I think that as more and more L2s come online, and Ethereum expands in all these ways, and it brings new users online, right? Like, with Base, they're bringing all these like payment stuff online, and with Sonium, they'll be bringing God knows what online, but like all these new audiences, new people doing new kinds of transactions that we just don't have on mainnet. We're going to be seeing this grow more and more. And then there's some more information here. So Ryan says Ethereum on-chain activity is reaching new all-time highs, while fees are down 90%, and this is bullish, not bearish. The faster fees per transaction trend towards zero, the better. The North Star is to onboard billions of people globally to crypto economy with ETH as the programmable money at the center of it. So this is actually a really fascinating idea as well. And these are transactions per second, but this is, I'm not sure if this is the max. Yeah, so on average it looks like 4 transactions per second over the life of the L2s, but currently it's above 350, 400 transactions per second, which is really amazing. And this is kind of countering the idea that Ethereum fees are now low, and they're saying that this is a bad thing basically. But Brian's arguing that this is actually a really good thing. It's very bullish to see this. Then Rosky here says, once again, Ethereum checked ecosystem metrics. It's looking like everything is fine and even better. Transaction counts are all-time high and transaction fees are all-time low. Ethereum is scaling. The demand for block space is growing, and they're using charts from Grow the Pie as well. And finally, Millie here, Lamb on the Brink, says the bullish positive catalyst narrative that no one is talking about is that Ethereum has successfully scaled with gas at record lows. This is brewing, but most people just don't realize it. And then the common, trope against this is that liquidity is fragmented, blah, blah, blah. And Millie says the liquidity fragmentation meme is just the bear market symptom. The issue is that liquidity is bad, period. And then there was more take to that as well. And the liquidity issue, of course, we've seen that there's big strides taking place towards solving that whole issue. And then going on from layer 2 growth, we're looking at stablecoin growth. And here as well, Peter says stablecoin transfer volume on Ethereum hit record all-time highs in August and accounted for over 50% of stablecoin volume. And more information here as well, saying that over the last 2 days, there's been $5 billion in USD transfer volume on Base, and this is record all-time highs. And this has happened, of course, when banks were closed for the holiday, but blockchains, of course, were running 24/7. So actually, stablecoin volume overall is getting back to the highs that we saw in 2021 and around 2022, and that is just a symptom of greater liquidity coming onto the crypto markets. And as liquidity starts to go up, it's very soon after that prices start to follow as well. So I see that a lot of people are like, really bearish right now. I'm seeing people or hearing of people capitulating and dumping their bags. Some of these people seem to think that prices will be coming down in the next couple of months, so they might get a cheaper entry. Some of them just think crypto is dead or Ethereum is dead. And when I put those ideas of those people compared to what we're seeing on-chain metrics, we're seeing TVLs at all-time highs, we're seeing staking at all-time highs, we're seeing activity at all-time highs, and some of these metrics might be gameable and manipulatable compared to others, but the general idea is that you can transact on Ethereum now for less than a cent on L2s, and on mainnet you can transact for I did transactions for like 10 to 15 cents over the weekend. It's just astonishing that this is happening in a way that people have been footing for a while. And then one of the standout apps of recent time on crypto has been Polymarket, and they did $470 million of volume in August, for the month ending August, and this is an all-time high for them. And comparatively, if you look at NFT volume on all blockchains, that was only $378 million. So Polymarket is definitely lining up to be one of the standout breakout apps of this crypto cycle. And I think that this is just the beginning. We're going to see other apps that are breaking out like this as well. I'm not sure what they'll be right now, but Polymarket is definitely showing that it is growing very strongly. Okay, I'm sorry about this, but my camera just turned off, so you won't actually see my face for the rest of this video. But I just want to get it made because I've had some issues over the last couple of days about getting episodes out, and today was the day where I had to just get this done. So sorry about this. But yeah, you won't see my face for the rest of it. So here we've got news out of a new DeFi hack, and this is from Penpie. So news broke yesterday of a hack for $17 million, and it actually looks like it was $26 million got drained from there as news came out. And on the Rocket Pool community, we actually do use some of their systems. So here Val was explaining, saying Penpie is Magpie's Pendle solution, but it says that the IMC uses Magpie's Pancake Swap solution, but it looks like none of the money came out of that, and that wasn't compromised, thankfully. But we got more information of what was happening with Penpie. Here they said that they were exploited, and there was wrapped ST ETH stolen, there was SUSD ETH stolen, there was AG ETH stolen, and then there was wrapped Swell ETH stolen and other Pendle related tokens. And it looks like there was an evil market that was introduced to their platform, and they used that to steal the other claims. So as you can see here, the evil market inflates the staking contract to claim the rewards, and then the losses were $27 million, taking into account the stolen tokens and possibly losses from other chains as well. And the losses actually went to this address here, so you can actually see on Etherscan where they're parked, and I don't think they've moved since then, or I'm not sure what's happened since then. Here Luis has analysis of the exploit, showing that the tokens were taken out. Some of the tokens depegged temporarily, but then got back onto their peg quite quickly. And Penpie's token themselves, it plummeted 40% as investor confidence in the protocol declined strongly. As you can see, there was huge volume on that wick, and there's some lessons to be learned as well. But here Penpie were actually taking the front step, saying, reaching out to the hacker directly, saying, we acknowledge your exploit of our protocol and believe there's potential for positive resolution that benefits all parties. Penpie is a community-driven project, and these funds mean a lot to our users. We're willing to negotiate a bounty for the safe return of the funds and offer you the opportunity to transition to white hat role, where your skills will be acknowledged and rewarded. In exchange, there'll be no legal action pursued from Penpie's behalf. Your identity will remain confidential, and you receive a percentage of the funds as a bounty reward. It says, we hope to see the value in resolving this amicably. Please contact us to discuss the return of the funds and the reward details. You can reach out to us via Telegram, email, or any other channel you feel comfortable with. And then there's information for Telegram and email there as well. So I don't know if there's going to be a positive resolution to this, but I've seen a couple of people on ETH Finance saying that they had all of their crypto basically on Penpie, using Pendle stuff, and that's all gone now. So my heart truly goes out to those people. It's absolutely horrible. In other news today, we got, well, this is still Ethereum news. EigenLayer put out announced their season 2 of their stake drop, and here they've got a whole lot of information about who this airdrop is going to go to. If you have a look at the Eigen Foundation post, it says that stakers and operators will be getting rewarded, ecosystem partners, and the community. So some of this will be going to people who staked their LSTs or ETH with EigenLayer, and people who are running their AVSs and ecosystem partners like AVSs, LRTs, rollups, RAASs, rollups as a service, and others will be getting tokens. And then there'll be tokens going to the community. So these will be through open source developers, people who promoted EigenLayer on Twitter, on podcasts, on Discord, on Farcaster, analysts and others, and people who took part in the hackathons. So the tokens information will be coming through, I think, in a couple of weeks' time. Stay tuned for the claim day coming soon, and then you'll be able to claim those tokens as well. I think transferability is supposed to be going live at the end of September. I've not seen anything changing for that, so hopefully you'll all get some nice airdrops from that. Here we have a new development on Ethereum that is bringing potentially some activity, and I'm not vouching for this service. I don't know how scammy it is or isn't going to be. I just wanted to give you all a heads up that this is coming to Ethereum, and this is called Ethervista, and it's being described as the pumped out fund of Ethereum, and it's going to be using ETH DeFi, and there's going to bring innovation to that. So what Ethervista is doing is bringing new meme coins, I guess, to Ethereum, and the white paper was released 2 days ago, and they're adding some mechanisms to make locking tokens locks, so it kind of makes it a little bit more rug proof, but you can check it out. Like I said, it's not something that I've used or something that I've taken part in, but it might be that people want to use this service, so I thought I'd let you know about it. And then 0x Not Gonna Make It is saying that it's already making revenue, $50,000 a day, but Pumped Out Fund basically made $100 million in a few months. So if this takes off on Ethereum, it'll be driving activity back to layer 1 and potentially be making a lot of money for these guys. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. In some other news now, there's been some interesting developments in Solana land. And here, Austin Federa shares information of layer 2s. And for those of you who don't know, Solana has been, developing something called the monolithic blockchain, which is everything on one blockchain, whereas Ethereum has been going through the modular blockchain roadmap, which is, a central layer 1, which is Ethereum in this case, and lots of layer 2s, and then eventually layer 3s built on top of those. Solana people were, strongly critical of these scaling architecture and system, saying that it fragments liquidity and all these kind of like meme FUD pieces that have come out, have originated in the Solana ecosystem. Well, something interesting that's happened here is Austin Federa says most of the L2 things on Solana are better thought of as network extensions, while the underlying tech might resemble Bitcoin or Ethereum layer 2s. The function and role is so radically different. I think founders will be best be served by network extensions. So as network extensions extend the Solana network to new places, bring new execution environments, specialized processing, etc. to the Solana network, and state compression, NFTs, Neon, EVM layer, and maybe Phoenix all fit this mental framing. So here, Antiprosynthesis says, who could have seen this coming? Kyle here says more nuanced explanation of why I think network extensions are interesting, whereas generic L2s are not. See here. And then he has a tweet, and Emmanuel, our seeker, says generic L2s aren't the only thing on Ethereum. There are application-specific L2s, there's EigenLayer AVSs, and all these off-chain markets like Uniswap X and CowSwap. They're co-processors, something, we're all building the same thing. And then there was some more critical feedback here. Ryan says Kyle is trying to support Solana's rebrand of L2s into network extensions, but his examples refer to themselves as L2s. Network extensions are only possible in Solana because everyone else tells the truth about them being L2s. And then Waz here says they've been setting the stage for L2s on Solana for months now, and it was very easy to spot. So the monolithic chain thesis is pretty much wrecked. The question is, will that impact Sol in the same way that impacted ETH? That's to be determined. And here from May 4th, Mert, who's one of the Solana mouthpieces, was saying L2s are not that bad. I think the discourse might have overcorrected too aggressively to label them as useless. They obviously have their uses. As long as you acknowledge the present trade-off in fragmentation, security, and real-time censorship resistance, they are useful. And Waz here, on May 5th said, you're setting the stage for Solana L2s, I see. And now that's what's happening. And here the Ethereum intern quotes this tweet from DAO Chemist saying, word on crypto Twitter is Anatoly wants Solana to go full modular with L2s restaking data availability and has given up on monolithic architecture. He just can't say, or his VC backers will drop his token and move on to Monad, Aptos, or Mega ETH. And here this is from August 4th, and the Ethereum intern says, we laughed at him, but little did we know that DAO Chemist was right this whole time. So this has definitely been one of those points of discussion in crypto Twitter over the last few days, and kind of pointing out the hypocrisies of Solana there. There's some more takes here. Adriano says L2 steals users from L1s, but they offer superior user experience, attracting even more new users. These users must pay for settlement on L2s with ETH and will use ETH as the primary currency in digital economies, further strengthening Ethereum's network effects and monetary premium. That's just justifying why Ethereum went this modular roadmap instead. And Emmanuel Osika here again says, you build a centralized chain, you claim it can replace Ethereum layer 1s and layer 2s because you did 1 million transactions per second on testnet. You launch and you struggle to hit 1,000 transactions per second in production. Then you go modular and you start shilling app-specific rollups and sovereign rollups. Excuses failure by borrowing modular theory from Ethereum. So it seems like that's going to happen more and more. And finally, we have this take on Twitter saying Solana L2s versus Ethereum L2s design space is genuinely interesting discussion topic. However, crypto Twitter characters reliably will find the dumbest discussion points. Solana is pivoting. What happened to L2s being parasitic? It says crypto Twitter is useless for information. Rollups are cool. And then Antiprosynthesis again replies with, maybe it has to do with the fact that the entire value proposition of Solana was that it could scale as a single monolithic chain. Shrug. And obviously they're abandoning that roadmap potentially. Here there was an article by The Block talking about Solana network usage as well and how it's peaked, how it retracted in August. And it looks like pump.fun getting cloned on Tron and now potentially on Ethereum might be impacting some of Solana's transaction volume. Okay, with this being the first episode of September, we have a new raffle. And as always with these raffles, I pay people to contribute to Rocket Fuel as a way of saying thank you. It's not much, but it's something. And this month we have 22 contributors, that's including me, so 23 contributors to kind of say thank you to. There will be 9 prizes that will be going out. And this is the first month that the prizes will be paid out in LUSD instead of RPL, so there won't be any fluctuating of the price happening. You'll just be getting dollar stable coin. So I'm going to paste this information into this board that was made for me by Hippocrates. So thank you so much for that. And you'll see that I pasted the users here. This Halulu one's going to give me some trouble because it gave me trouble last time. So let me fix that. And I'm going to press go now. So this will actually spit out 10 names. One of those will likely be my name. So we're going to skip past that. And then there'll be 9 prizes of $100 each. Let's have a look and see what we get. We get Ramana as number 1, Lee number 2, Halululo number 3, Shifrin number 4, Vaka number 5, Not You number 6, Samus number 7, Sneaky Ninja Guy number 8, Chaos as number 9, and Mig the Nice One as number 10. So I actually didn't win a prize this time, so Mig will go on standby. The rest of those people, I'll be reaching out to you very, very soon because I have previous payments that I'm waiting to send out as well. I haven't done yet, so I will be getting those payments out hopefully very, very soon. So Ramana, Lee, Halululo, Shifrin, Vaka, Not You, Samus, Sneaky, and Chaos. You will be getting the 9 prizes. And if one of those people I can't get in touch with you, then Mig will get that prize instead. Of course, the 10th prize will be going to Cheers for putting together the raffle spreadsheet. So thank you all for your contributions. I'm sorry that I missed yesterday's episode. It's just there was too much time spent on gathering all the links and then to get the episode out today. So on the Monday, of course, was Labor Day in the US, so it was a holiday here. So I couldn't get an episode out then. But I'll be back tomorrow and Friday with more episodes for you all, full of Rocket Pool and Ethereum news. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I hope you all have a lovely day ahead, and I'll see you tomorrow. And there'll also be an episode of Launchpad that you'll be seeing very soon as well. So I recorded that today, and I'm sure some of you will enjoy watching that. So thanks, everyone. Bye.